Good morning. This is X-Pulse AI Morning Mix. Today is Sunday, May 3rd, 2026. We're hitting defense AI on classified networks, the new Capex arms race in big tech, a monster seed round for a brand new lab, and the real bottleneck behind data centers. I've got Orion with me. Ready?
Ready, let's roll.
The New York Times reported on May 1st the Pentagon signed agreements with 7 tech firms to run AI on classified networks, and Anthropic isn't on the list. What happened?
The Department of Defense says Nvidia, OpenAI, SpaceX, Reflection, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, and Google can bring AI capabilities onto classified networks at impact levels 6 and 7. Anthropic was excluded after prior clashes over safety guardrails and a supply chain risk designation, so the relationship looks strained.
Practically, what changes for day-to-day defense work?
It widens the tool belt. More model choices, more cloud options, and faster procurement for classified workflows. Think analysis, document handling, logistics, and decision support. It also signals the Pentagon wants competition and redundancy, not a single model monoculture.
And strategically, what's the signal to the AI industry?
Compliance plus security wins. This is less about the smartest model and more about cleared infrastructure, supply chain confidence, and governance. Also, Google had just rolled out Gemini 3.1 Pro for certain defense use cases. This deal reinforces that momentum.
Fast Company on May 1st tracked a surge in capital expenditures across Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, and Microsoft. What's driving this spending spike?
AI infrastructure, massive data center buildouts, networking, storage, and specialized compute. Earnings season is basically turning into a construction schedule. More campuses, more power contracts, and more long lead equipment. The big theme is shifting from AI features to AI factories.
Is this just hype-fueled overspending or a durable shift?
It looks structural. Training and serving frontier models eats compute continuously, and enterprise demand is pushing steady inference load. The risk isn't no one uses it. The risk is bottlenecks, power, permitting, and supply chains, making the spend less optional than it sounds.
Any competitive tells hiding in Capex numbers?
Yes, Capex is strategy in numeric form. When you see who's accelerating data centers versus model R&D, you can infer who's betting on being a platform versus a product layer. Also, accountants are now the unofficial narrators of the AI race. It's a new genre.
Analytics Insight reported on May 1st that Ineffable Intelligence, founded by ex-DeepMind researcher David Silver, raised a $1.1 billion seed round. That's enormous. What do we know?
We know the headline amount and the founder. David Silver is a major name from DeepMind's reinforcement learning era. The report frames this as one of the largest seed rounds in Europe, instantly putting Ineffable among the best-funded private research labs despite being only months old.
Before we speculate, what is Ineffable Intelligence trying to do?
Public details are thin, but the positioning is foundational research, likely advanced agentic systems and learning methods, given Silver's background. The key point, this isn't a typical seed to find product market fit. It's seed to buy time, talent, and compute.
What does a seed round that big change in the ecosystem?
It changes the gravity. Top researchers can pick labs with long runways, and compute plans can be aggressive on day one. It also pressures incumbents. If new labs can raise at that scale, the frontier becomes less about who exists and more about who can sustain burn responsibly.
Power Magazine wrote on May 1st that the bottleneck for AI buildouts is shifting from chips to power and sites. What's the story?
The argument is that GPUs are still scarce, but electricity is becoming the limiting reagent: siting, firm generation, transmission, distribution, and cooling. The fastest model team in the world still can't deploy if the grid can't feed the racks, or if the permitting clock runs longer than the model upgrade cycle.
They cite Jensen Huang, right? What did he emphasize?
Yes, remarks at the World Economic Forum. The United States leads in models and chips, but China is scaling generation capacity faster. So the pace of AI deployment increasingly maps to energy infrastructure, who can secure megawatts reliably at scale.
So the practical implication for the next year?
Expect more power deals, more on-site generation, and more geographic reshuffling of compute. In other words, AI strategy starts looking like industrial planning. Not as glamorous, but the lights have to stay on.
Let's do a fast pass across the rest. In hardware, Digitimes on May 1st says Nvidia B300 class AI servers in China are fetching scarcity premiums, sometimes close to $1 million per system, amid export controls.
That's a localized supply squeeze. Constrained top-end supply plus intense demand means prices decouple from global benchmarks. It raises deployment costs for Chinese buyers and creates weird incentives, brokers, gray market routing, and more domestic substitution pressure.
Still on chips, investing.com today, May 3rd, says Nvidia's push into physical AI is lifting Asian semiconductor names. What's behind the rally?
Physical AI means models tied to robotics and real-world systems. The supply chain is Asia-heavy, so optimism flows through Samsung and SK Hynix earnings and into component suppliers. When Nvidia changes its story, the ecosystem's valuation model changes with it, like a group chat where one person types "new plan."
On policy, Politico on May 2nd found about 3 in 4 Trump voters support AI oversight, and CT Mirror on May 1st says Connecticut passed a broad AI law with a regulatory sandbox. Meanwhile, Business Insider on May 1st cites McKinsey, about $3 back per $1 spent on AI, and CBC on May 1st covered an ER study where an AI tool sometimes outdiagnosed clinicians. Tie that together for us? And quick note, Crunchbase News on May 1st says space security startup True Anomaly raised about $600 million.
You're seeing convergence. Public appetite for oversight is higher than partisan slogans suggest, and states are building their own frameworks, like Connecticut's sandbox. At the same time, ROI claims are solidifying. McKinsey says 3-to-1 benefits and about 20% profit boosts over 2 to 4 years, while healthcare studies push capability forward cautiously. And on True Anomaly, it's defense-adjacent space security. Big rounds signal investors think national security plus AI is a durable market.
That's Xpulse AI Morning Mix from Xpulse for Sunday, May 3rd, 2026. Share it with someone who'd find it useful. See you next time.